Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Four Wheels. For the past decade, the automotive industry has been telling us a story. Maybe it wasn't an intentional lie, but it was certainly a convenient one. We were told that the transition to electric vehicles would happen smoothly and predictably. By 2026, range anxiety would supposedly be a thing of the past. Solid-state batteries were always just around the corner, and charging stations would appear everywhere from London to Lisbon. But if you step outside and look at the real world, the picture is far less tidy. Governments are reducing EV subsidies. Major manufacturers are scaling back their electric ambitions. Companies like Ford Motor Company and Volkswagen are rethinking their timelines, and consumers, voting with their wallets, remain cautious. Why? Because the core physics hasn't changed. A tank of petrol still contains roughly 40 times more energy per kilogram than even the best lithium-ion batteries. For years, buying an EV meant accepting compromise, less convenience, careful route planning, and the constant background question of whether the battery would last the entire journey. But while Western markets debated policy, tariffs, and infrastructure, something remarkable was happening elsewhere. Inside the engineering labs of Geely, the parent company behind Volvo Cars, Polestar, and Lotus Cars, a new solution quietly emerged. And it doesn't simply move the goalposts, it removes them entirely. Today, we're looking at a machine that could end the entire EV versus petrol debate. This is the Geely Boyue ERV. The numbers alone sound almost impossible for a production vehicle. Nearly 1,000 miles of combined range, or about 1,525 kilometers. But the figure that truly shakes the industry is 375 kilometers of pure electric range. Yes, this hybrid can travel farther on electricity alone than many dedicated electric cars. Today, we're going to take this vehicle apart piece by piece. We'll break down the Nordthor EM-i powertrain, examine the Aegis Short Blade battery system, and explore why this design proves that the internal combustion engine isn't disappearing. It's simply being reassigned. To understand why this vehicle matters, we first have to look at why previous hybrid systems struggled. For years, plug-in hybrids were treated as a transitional technology. Vehicles like the Toyota RAV4 Prime or the BMW X5 xDrive 50e used what engineers call parallel hybrid architecture. In these systems, the engine and the electric motor both attempt to drive the wheels. The result is a complicated mechanical compromise involving gearboxes, clutches, and drive shafts competing for space under the hood. When the driver accelerates hard, the engine revs aggressively, gears shift, and efficiency drops. These systems work, but they are fundamentally conflicted. The Geely Boyue ERV takes a completely different approach. This vehicle is not a plug-in hybrid in the traditional sense. It belongs to a category known as an extended range electric vehicle, or EREV. That distinction is crucial. In an EREV architecture, the engine never drives the wheels. Instead, it functions purely as a generator, essentially a mobile power plant mounted inside the car. There is no mechanical link between the engine and the tires. The wheels are exclusively powered by electric motors. Why is this important? Thermodynamics. A conventional engine must operate across an enormous range of conditions. It has to idle in traffic, accelerate hard when merging, and climb steep hills. Most of the time, it operates far outside its most efficient range. But a generator engine only needs to do one thing: produce electricity at its optimal efficiency point. The engine inside this vehicle, the BHE 15-BFN 1.5-liter unit, runs on the Miller combustion cycle and maintains a very narrow operating band. The result is a staggering 46.5% thermal efficiency. To put that into perspective, the average petrol engine found in cars from companies like Ford Motor Company and Volkswagen operates at roughly 30% efficiency. That means the majority of fuel energy is normally lost as heat and noise. Even modern Formula One engines hover around 50% efficient. So, when a mass-production SUV achieves 46.5%, it borders on engineering wizardry. Every drop of petrol is converted into electricity with remarkable effectiveness. But the generator alone is not what defines this vehicle. The real transformation comes from the battery. Historically, hybrid vehicles used very small batteries. You might get 40 or 50 kilometers of electric driving before the engine started. This car changes that equation entirely. The Boyue ERV carries an estimated 60 kilowatt-hour battery pack, similar in size to the battery in a Tesla Model 3. But unlike a Tesla, it also carries a fuel tank. The secret lies in Aegis Short Blade battery technology, which uses lithium iron phosphate chemistry combined with a cell-to-body structural architecture. Instead of packaging the battery in bulky modules, the cells become a structural element of the chassis itself. The result is an energy density of approximately 192 watt-hours per kilogram. More importantly, the psychological effect on the driver is profound. With most hybrids, the engine activates almost immediately when additional power is required. With this car, the engine might remain silent for weeks. If your daily commute is 50 kilometers, the vehicle behaves exactly like a pure EV. You charge it at home, drive electrically, and burn zero fuel. But when you decide to drive from London to Edinburgh or Paris to Berlin, the generator quietly activates and maintains the battery charge. There is no charging anxiety, no route planning, just drive. Visually, the design reinforces this philosophy. The Boyue ERV adopts what Geely calls the Starburst design language, derived from its Galaxy sub-brand. The front fascia is largely closed because the engine operates at steady output, reducing cooling requirements. This allows the bodywork to achieve better aerodynamic efficiency. Air curtains channel airflow around the wheels, minimizing turbulence and reducing drag at highway speeds. Every surface is shaped with energy efficiency in mind. Inside the cabin, another transformation becomes clear. After acquiring smartphone company Meizu, Geely integrated mobile-level software into its vehicles. The infotainment system runs Flyme Auto, powered by the EO4 Automotive chip. Navigation can seamlessly transfer from your phone to the car's 15-inch display the moment you enter. The voice assistant uses advanced language models to interpret natural speech. Instead of saying, "Turn on heating," you can simply say, "I'm feeling cold," and the system automatically adjusts temperature and seat heating. It feels less like a car interface and more like interacting with a smart device. Of course, safety remains central to the design. Thanks to Geely's ownership of Volvo cars, the platform draws heavily from the CMA architecture co-developed in Sweden. Battery durability was tested through what the company calls 4 extreme torture tests. The battery was punctured with needles, crushed with heavy loads, submerged in seawater, and exposed to rapid thermal shock. The result, no fire and no thermal runaway. That stability is a major advantage of LFP chemistry. So, who should be concerned about this vehicle? Quite a few companies. One immediate competitor is the BYD Song Plus DM-i, currently one of the most successful hybrid vehicles globally. But that system still relies on a parallel hybrid layout. The Geely Boyue ERV's series hybrid architecture allows it to deliver nearly double the electric-only range. Compared to the Toyota RAV4 Prime, the difference becomes even more dramatic. Toyota's electric range sits around 75 kilometers. The Boyue ERV offers 5 times that distance. And in the broader global context, this matters enormously. Trade tensions between Western markets and Chinese EV manufacturers are rising, but hybrids often fall into different regulatory categories than pure electric vehicles. This gives companies like Geely an alternative path into global markets. In regions where charging infrastructure remains limited, including parts of South America, Southeast Asia, and Eastern Europe, a vehicle like this offers the benefits of electric driving without requiring massive infrastructure investments. It brings its own generator. Economically, the argument becomes even stronger. If the average driver travels about 50 kilometers per day,
The car could operate almost entirely on electricity. Fuel purchases become rare events, yet long road trips remain completely effortless. For many households, this could represent the most practical single-car solution available today. In many markets, the vehicle may launch under different brand names, possibly within Geely's Galaxy lineup or even through associated brands like Lynk & Co. But the engineering foundation will remain the same, and that foundation sends a clear message. The Boyue ERV is not merely another hybrid. It is a declaration that the future of transportation may not be purely electric, at least not yet. Instead, the internal combustion engine has found a new role, not as a driver of wheels, but as a generator powering an electric future. And with 375 kilometers of electric range, the bar has now been dramatically